And we are live on a Wednesday, Sean. August 27th. It's late August. Playoff picture might just be setting itself up. Teams are climbing, teams are falling. But on a Wednesday, we got a lot of news to talk about at Sean and Spin in the Morning. Episode 51, Sean. Past the half-century mark. Presented by Off Base Media. How we doing, Shawnee?
Well, if we're past the half-century mark, so it's a great day, but it's a horrible day because the Phillies can't win in Citi Field. So that sucks. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. We actually got a lot for you. A lot planned today. The 2026 schedule came out. Playoffs are right around the corner. We got some dirty dogs to talk about. Cal hits 50. We're going to get into it today, though.
Let's get right into our vibe check because we got a lot of news around the league. And let's start in Philly, which is actually in Queens because that's where they've been the last few days. And I guess they're trying to avoid a sweep today. There's stuff. Philly fans are kind of getting nuts. You got to take hold of this because I haven't been paying too much attention about what's going on. But Philly fans getting nuts. They see Bryce wearing the orange batting gloves. It's part of his brand, but he's not producing, and he's wearing the Mets colors. And the Phillies have lost like 9 straight games in Citi Field or whatever it is. Get into the Philly. What the fuck is going on? People mad at Bryce. Luzardo gets pulled and then ejected. A lot of shit going on.
So I don't think people are actually mad at Bryce for little background story here. Mets a part of his, I think he called it Bryce a part of his rivalry collection for his brand or something like that. Or I don't remember the color spikes, but he definitely wore the orange batting gloves.
I think they were like blue. They're like bluish spikes.
So he was wearing Mets colors. And it was part of his rivalry collection, whatever, yada, yada, yada. But then he gets out, looks horrible, makes a bad error. So people are like, you just need to back it up. Like, we watched Hunter Brody's video before this and stuff like that. Normally we're fans of Hunter Brody. I think there's some merit to it, but I don't think there's a whole lot. You know what I mean? Bryce is going to be Bryce. He went for it. It didn't work. Well, guess what? The next night, he has a crucial two RBI double with the bases loaded, 2 outs and 2 strikes on him. It's Bryce Harper, dude. He's allowed to have one off game. Now, I think it's a bigger thing that the Phillies can't win at Citi Field because this is actually very apparent now. I think you said it is. It might be 9. It might be up to 9. 9 straight losses at Citi Field. Alec Bono on Friday nights complaining about a camera out in center field that's been there for 9 fucking years. You pause the game for whatever 15 minutes just to find out it's always been there. Bryce looks horrible. Trey looked horrible Friday night. Come Saturday. Oh, sorry, not. I'm thinking it's the weekend because it should be a weekend series, but it's not. Thanks, MLB. You come around Tuesday night. Luzardo looks good for 4 innings. 5th inning comes around. 3rd time around the order, guess what happens? What's been happening all year? He starts giving up, hitters, walks, gets the bases loaded eventually. He just hasn't had good luck around 3rd time around the order. So you gotta pay attention to that.
Well, Rob loves to stretch him
for whatever reason because it hasn't worked out since the Brewers in the middle of I forget what month that was, but whatever. Hasn't worked out well the rest of this year. Beginning of the year, yes, did work out. But then you got to adjust, Rob. You got to adjust. Well, guess what? The umpire also sucked yesterday. I believe it was both sides. Not really sure. I was at work, so I didn't get to watch most of the game. But I do know the umpire was very, very bad. A lot of people, like Juan Soto, Jesus Luzardo is halfway through his windup and the bottom of the 1st. Juan Soto calls time and the ump gives it to him. And I'm talking Luzardo's well through his windup by now. And Juan Soto just gets time. So Jesus Luzardo, rightfully so, freaks the fuck out and starts yelling at the umpire. Well, guess what? That doesn't help our calls. Rightfully so. But that doesn't help our calls the rest of the day because apparently this umpire is a little bit of an egomaniac. And so on top of that, on top of all the Mets things, the guys still fought last night. I want to give them a little credit on that. But we do have to, this is a narrative. This is something that scares the shit out of me come the playoffs is that the Phillies, every time they go in the Citi Field, it seems like they're folding.
Yeah, right now the Phillies would be the 2 seed because they're 76 and 56. The Dodgers would be the 3 seed, 76 and 57. That makes that race a little. Maybe we should be paying a little bit more attention to that race too. Who's going to get the 2 seed? Right now it would be the Phillies, but by a smidge. And if the Mets are going to be the 6, the 3 plays the 6. So if the Dodgers pass the Phillies in that, or the Padres too. So if whoever wins the West is better than the Phillies record, who you would assume wins the East, that would bump the Phillies to a 3 seed to play the 6, which would be the Mets. Granted, the 3 would be at home. The Phillies would have home field advantage, but still, that's a rivalry series that right now the Mets have gotten the better. Now, granted, it has been at Citi Field, but listen, to get that bye and be the 2 seed might be better, and then the Dodgers could play the Mets. Good chance the Mets get bumped, or someone has to bump each other then, which would be better.
And what did I say on Monday? I said the Phillies are the better team, but guess what? In these division and these rivalry games, anything can happen, and anything is happening right now. People look like they forgot how to play baseball. Sanchez, our Cy Young candidate, goes out and doesn't look the best either. I also want to get you need to tell me if I'm wrong in saying this, but Luzardo should not have been the one who got ejected in that game. It should have came from Rob Thompson, and Rob Thompson should have gotten ejected earlier in that game.
Yeah, I didn't watch the game so in depth. I think Luzardo got pulled and then he was like jawing at the ump on his way out of the game. Yeah, I mean, I think like Boone, for example, who gets thrown out a lot, would have probably been out there and chirping the whole game. Rob Thompson's a little bit more laid back, so it's just managerial styles. Maybe Luzardo felt like he had nothing to lose. He just said, "Fuck it," just.
Yeah, I mean,
he's just like, if I'm going out, I'm going out.
He got pulled from the game. So
yeah, he's like, I'm going out in style. But there is something to what you're saying, though. The manager should maybe stick up for the players more. But Rob Thompson, his managerial style doesn't really seem to be that way. And when things are going right, it's like, okay, hey, maybe Rob's doing things. And that's how it felt like for the past few weeks. Now you run into the Mets and some of these weird nitpicky things are happening, and it is going to come back to Rob at times. So they have to get back to their winning ways, avoid a sweep today. And I think it's a bad Atlanta team over the weekend, if I'm not mistaken. And then, maybe things can look a little bit better. But there's a lot of weird things. A lot of weird things though in this series, yeah.
But it is worrisome, and whenever we play the Mets, we do start to get, like you just said, these nitpicky things start to come out. They start to show because we start to lose games and we start to see things that might be happening come playoff time, and this is what worries us. This is what worries Phillies fans and stuff like that. But like that clip we watched before that guy was saying he lost a little faith in Bryce and Kyle and Sanchez. I'm not going to go as far as say that. I say they all had a bad game. But like I said, Bryce comes back the next day, clutch two RBI single with 2 outs. Like, Bryce is going to be that player. He's going to be that guy. He's allowed to have 1 or 2 games where he messes up. Just let him get it out of the way now. Lock in. The big headline that everybody needs to kind of pay attention to is the 9 losses at Citi Field. That is something, and that ain't great.
Yeah.
That ain't great. They need to exercise those demons tonight. Taijuan Walker on the bump, baby. Unsung hero. Maybe he can go in and just say, I don't give a shit, and just play some good baseball, toss some good innings for us.
Yeah, they're going against Nolan McLean, who's making his 3rd start, and McLean's looked really good in his first 2, so maybe he's due for. He had his debut against Seattle at home, and he looked good. And then he pitched against like a shitty team, and maybe it was the Braves, I forget, but he dominated a very bad team. Now he's got his 3rd start. We know a little bit more about him, and he's going against the Phillies offense that needs a win. So maybe they explode on this young cat. Here's the other thing, though, that's going on in Philly. They made a bunch of roster moves, I guess, yesterday or Monday into Tuesday, whatever the fuck it was. We're talking about it now. Jordan Romano lands on the IL with right middle finger inflammation. I guess that's not a bad thing.
He should have been deported. Send him back to Canada for love of God, man.
I got this. I think this is a real thing, by the way. But I think usually when relievers get banged up or you lose an arm late in the season, especially this stage of the game, it's such a bad thing. This just seems like a good thing. So, okay, no one's mad that Romano's banged up, right middle finger inflammation. Of course, you don't root for an injury, but I don't think anyone's really rooting for him to come back anytime soon either.
Nope.
Joe Ross is released, and then they recalled Daniel Robert. He's a righty. They recalled him from Lehigh Valley. So we'll see how Daniel Robert, man with 2 first names. I don't know how you feel about that, Sean, but he's a righty. And then Lou Trevino has his contract selected from Lehigh Valley. Lou Trevino has had some stints in the major leagues, a bit of a veteran. Had a good year in Oakland a few years ago. Remember, Yankees got him at the deadline and never really performed much, and then he got fucking hurt in the Bronx. But Trevino has actually made some starts with the Dodgers this year, weirdly enough. I was looking at Trevino earlier. Didn't even know he was in the Phillies organization. So whatever, he's on like the 40-man roster now. Maybe that's a decent little move because he has had success out of the pen in years past. Maybe that's not a bad thing for the Phils. But Daniel Robert getting the call. Joe Ross, bye-bye. That's probably not a bad thing either. Jordan Romano, who is people call him a terrorist.
It can't get much worse from Jordan Romano and Joe Ross. So you can't trust a man with 3 names. You can't trust a man with 3 first names. You can trust a man with 2 first names though, Spin. So Daniel Roberts okay in my book as of now.
But Joe Ross also technically 2 first names. How do we feel about that?
Well, he sucked, and we could send him back to his buddies in Milwaukee because apparently he likes spending more time there. I don't know. I don't care. I don't want to see him ever again, unless we're facing him. I'll take him.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
We should have sent Jordan Romano to the Mets. We should have sent him probably to like Australia or something like that. Yep. Get him as far away from us as humanly possible.
Yep. Land down.
And that graphic is actually probably pretty accurate because if Jordan Romano blows a playoff game this year, I think Philly's going to explode. So that actually might be a threat to world peace.
Yep, it is.
And that's something we need to take into account. But this is also he should have been dropped 3 weeks ago. I mean, he should. It's insane to me that he hasn't been dropped yet. Why do we keep throwing this guy out there?
Yeah, because it's like maybe he could one time be what he used to be. Like that is such a fucking hard thing. Like that's such
a Philly thing. That is such a Philly thing we've done with guys in the past. But how do you not release him? Number one, how is he not off this roster? How do you? And he has it's either the top ERA or the second highest ERA ever of an eligible Phillies pitcher.
Yeah, if you want to know the number, 42 2/3 innings, his ERA is 8.23.
He probably holds it now. He probably holds the highest ERA of any Phillies pitcher ever that's eligible for that.
He's also probably like the knows who's Schwanzi to suck off because how do you still even have a job?
I know. He's got to have something. He's got to have something on somebody in that organization. It's unbelievable.
You know what it is? Rob Thompson vouches for him because they're both Canadian.
Oh, God, I hope that's not true.
It's the power of the maple leaf, baby.
Dude, I hope that's not true. How old is Romano? Do you have it up?
No, I could search it. I would guess 31, 32.
All right, cool.
It looks like
maybe
he's
he
36.
should just freaking retire at this point.
He looks like he's like 36. He's on his age 32 season.
And I'm calling to all these Philly fans who I think it was in like May or June when they were like, "Oh, Romano's having some good outings. Maybe we should really keep him in the lineup." And never once did I be like, "Oh no, we should keep this guy. He's a piece of shit. Get him out of the bullpen." I do not want to see him pitch. And if I see him pitch in the playoffs, I'm going to lose my mind, Spin. I'm going to lose it.
Oh, I want to see it. Well, see, I would. I mean, I don't even know. Like, I get rid of Romano. Trevino's not a bad option. Like, I didn't even know he was in that organization. That's not. It
can't get worse than what we have with him. It can't. And if it can, please don't let me see it.
And I'm not saying this is like too much to be worried about, but even Duran in his last 3 appearances has 2 losses on a blown save.
Well, this is my thing with Duran. Duran has been perfect for us so far. Get the slip ups out now.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. I don't think that's worth worrying about. But while we're on the topic of the bullpen,
he's a good pitcher.
Yeah, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about him at all. Should we get off of Philly really quick? Talk about somebody who just came off the IL. Actually, Yordan Alvarez. So Jordan Romano on the IL. Yordan, I don't know if it rhymes, but he's off the IL. So that's for Houston. He's been having a bad year when healthy. He's been on the IL for God knows how long. He just came off yesterday. He hasn't really gotten an opportunity to get hot because he hasn't played long enough this season. But what does this mean for Houston? And is Houston the team to beat?
Well, we said it. I mean,
In the American League, that is?
in the American League, I don't know. That's kind of up for grabs because Detroit was looking hot, but they're on a 3-game losing streak now. Not great in that aspect, but the American League is so up in the air in my eyes because we don't know what the Blue Jays are going to look like in the playoffs. Red Sox are young. Roman Anthony's on a freaking tear, but that's beside the point. But Red Sox are young. You don't know what you're going to get them with them come October. Yankees could be one of the hottest teams in baseball or legitimately look like one of the worst teams in baseball. Tigers have beginning of the year, first half, this was the Tigers were the AL team to beat, yada, yada, yada. But we don't know what these guys look come October. We don't know how a lot of these guys are going to look. Astros, we kind of have a sample size of them in the past. They're really the only ones we know anything about right now. But even they, in the second half, have had their ups and downs as well. So this is just an addition. Like, you bring Jordan back, that's a huge bat for them. I think they need to figure it out a little bit, bullpen and pitching wise, even though they have some notable guys, but their lineup needs to figure it out a little bit too. But guess what? The Astros are a very, very scary organization, just in general.
And they got a lot scarier with Jordan coming back. I would actually argue that they might be the team to beat. I think their ceiling is a pennant team. Like, I think they can make it to the World Series. I know they're not the best team record-wise. You still have Detroit and Detroit and Toronto with better records. But I think Houston's ceiling is to get to a World Series, realistically. I mean, they could, on muscle memory alone, win their division. On muscle memory alone, get past they'd be in the wild card round right now, and they'd play division rival Seattle. Muscle memory can beat Seattle because Seattle hasn't been there enough times to really do it. They do have the pitching to roll out in that wild card game. You need 2 studs to roll, or at least 3 to roll out in the wild card series. But Houston can roll out 2 studs and go toe to toe with your big dogs in Brown and Valdez. So it's not like they don't have 2 big dogs. They get contributions by the back end of the rotation. The thing that scares me is no Josh Hader, so that sucks. He's arguably the best closer in baseball when he got hurt, arguably. But still, that hurts. But then you bring Jordan. They need a lefty bat. He's a middle of the lineup bat, ribby guy. They were doing them in first place without him, right? And now look, they get contributions. They had a good trade deadline. Carlos Correa. I don't know. I think we haven't even seen fucking Christian Walker at his best. He has playoff experience. Remember, he was on the Diamondbacks team that went to the World Series a few years ago, and he was quiet then. So now he's got his feet wet in the world in terms of playoff experience, and maybe he comes in. They have experience. I think that matters. I like Joey Espada as their manager. I think their ceiling is literally a World Series team, and unlike Toronto and Detroit, I think they have more experience.
And shame on us shame on everybody, because I don't know if anybody really thought this. This is the Astros division to lose until they actually lose it. You know what I mean? And everybody kind of counted them out. We were big on Texas this year. They put up a stinker. Other people were, I think a lot of people were actually big on Texas. I didn't hear a whole lot about the Houston Astros beginning of the year because they figured this was kind of going to be a rebuilding year for them. But guess what? Hunter Brown is going to get Cy Young votes. Cam Smith looks awesome. Pena looked awesome until he was hurt. Now you got Jordan coming back. Altuve is going to be Altuve. Framber is going to be Framber. Astros are scary come October. I don't know if they're the team to beat because of their ups and downs, but definitely come October, you got to pay attention to them.
Yeah, you really do. You really do. They're going to hang with the big dogs because they are one of the big dogs. So there's that. Let's go to some of the newsy stuff. We'll stick with our AL West theme and start with Cal, but let's do one word to describe these things. We got 5 little things here. I'm terrible at this game because I always use more than one word, but here's some things that have happened over the past few days. One word to describe this, Sean. Cal Riley, 50-piece, second switch hitter to do so. He already stands alone in terms of catchers in the single season home runs. Now he's second. Mickey Mantle is the only other switch hitter to have over 50. I think we said 54 and 52. Mantle did it. So that's one guy. He did it twice, but it's one guy. And now Cal, second ever switch hitter to get to 50. See if he could pass Mantle. But right now, what do you say about that?
Exciting. Because anytime you're mentioning the people that we're mentioning in stats and stuff like that, we're talking about Hall of Famers when we're bringing up these names and legends of the game. Cal Riley now gets held in those conversations, so it's pretty exciting to see a player who's doing this, especially in our lifetime.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I'll go with exciting. It's important to mention 50 homers, and we think while we were on the topic, we had our friendly wager of 55.5. What does he end with in terms of homers? You have the over, I have the under. So he needs 6 to hit that over before the season ends. Not impossible. At least 6, that is. Okay, no one's shocked if he hits like fucking 7. Okay, how about this? Jazz Chisholm Jr. You talked about guys joining an elite group of, a elite company in the baseball history. Well, there's the graphic on the screen. Jazz Chisholm joins an elite group of Yankees to hit 25-plus homers and 20-plus bags in a season. He's the first guy to do it since Granderson in 2011. But if you go down the list, you see A-Rod did it 3 times. Alfonso Soriano did it twice. Ricky Henderson, Bobby Bonds, Mickey Mantle. Mickey's always on the fucking list.
Yeah.
But there you go. So those are the Yankees to do that. What about Jazz Chisholm in the season he's having? One word to describe it.
Shocking to me. It's shocking because Jazz Chisholm has been kind of flying under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, I think he was hitting like 7th yesterday.
Yeah, he's been flying under the radar a little bit. Power's obviously there, but I guess every time you go to the Bronx, somebody gets you get a little bit more power. Gee, maybe it's just what's in the air over there in Yankee Stadium. But also kind of shocking to me that there's not more names on this list with some of the great players that have come through.
Know.
That's like the biggest part. Like, first person to do it since Curtis Granderson number one wild. But I can't believe like Jeter's not on that list. I don't know. Was Bernie Williams like known for taking bags too?
I guess, but I guess he never did it in the same year if he was ever hitting over 25 homers. I don't know if he ever did that.
Wild not to see him there. I feel like I would see more names on this list with some of the Yankees. A-Rod, I'm not shocked to see there. I'm surprised he just didn't do it more times because now that I'm becoming more and more into like a little bit of the history of the game and stuff like that, I'm slowly realizing Alex Rodriguez is truly one of the best players to ever play the game.
I've always said if A-Rod didn't get caught with steroids, he'd be considered the best player ever.
Yeah, he like some of the stats he has, the milestones he has, number one, and then but also how he did it on the defensive side. Like, there are so many people who believe that A-Rod should have been playing short. That's a conversation for a different day, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised he didn't do it more times. Alfonso Soriano, not really surprised he's on there. He doesn't get enough credit for how good he used to be and stuff like that. But
they got traded for each other, I think.
Yeah, I am shocked. Not a lot of people on that list.
Yeah, so that is the shocking bit, and that's the Yankee way, right? It's all hit fucking home runs, and how does that work out for you? Well, you haven't won since you had one guy do it since 2011 until Jazz did it this year, and you haven't won a fucking World Series since. Well, whatever. But yeah, shocking indeed. Yeah, you'd think there'd be more fucking people. I don't know. Have they ever had a 30? When's the last 30-30 season they had? Like, that was the thing I was wondering. We need to get our research department on that. Hey, Trevor, research. Trevor's on research today. Speaking of Trevor, I don't know if I subconsciously thought about this, but Trevor Story, 200th career home run. One word to describe that. Cute little milestone, I guess.
Interesting. Because Trevor Story's had an interesting career in my eyes. With the Rockies, unbelievable player kind of thing, and now on the back end of his career has had some down years in Boston. Kind of turned it around a little bit this year. It's just interesting to me. A little cutesy milestone. I think people are going to I honestly thought he might have more because I figured he was more of a power hitter when he was with Colorado. I guess I was wrong, but
I think he had some moments, but he just hasn't played a lot the last few seasons because ever since he came over to Boston, he's been banged up left and right. But 200, not bad, and it's a shortstop doing it. He is a 2020 guy this year, so he's had a darn good season. He's a big part of that team, especially being the fact that he has been around the block, and there's a lot of young guys in that clubhouse. So cool, good for you, Trevor. Wilson Contreras, did you see this? 6-game suspension and an undisclosed fine. He is appealing the decision, but he got maybe my word would be aggressive because he got nuts on the ump, and I think he chucked his bat. It might have hit his manager. Maybe it was meant to hit the ump and it hit the manager. I don't know how bad the bat toss was. He kind of chucked. Then he chucked some gum everywhere. It was a real aggressive way to go out, and he got a healthy suspension. Though he is appealing it. I think he's still going to maybe be suspended because he was chucking shit. But I think he's maybe trying to limit the games that he gets suspended for. I don't know. Undisclosed fine. I don't know if I missed anything there, Sean. I didn't really see it too in depthly there with Wilson Contreras.
I'm gonna say awesome because we haven't had a freak out like this in a long time.
Nice.
So I'll say awesome. But yeah, he threw a lot more than just his bat. He threw a tantrum, some bubble gum all over the place. Like he really got his money's worth with this one. And it's funny because it didn't like start like that. Like he actually struck out looking on a strike. It was a strike. It was in the strike zone. And I think he turned around to say something like, as in passing kind of thing. Like he turned around to say something. And then I think the ump said something back and he just said, screw it, I'm going in. And just lost his freaking mind.
I think some of his frustration came from the at-bat prior, but also that happens a little too much. Guys are walking away and they get tossed as they're walking away. That happens too much. It's not a good look, I think.
Well, I don't know if he got tossed right away. I don't know.
I think he was walking back, wasn't he? And he got tossed?
Oh,
or something like that.
I don't know, maybe, but I do agree with that. Like when somebody says like one little thing and then the umpire has like a soft little shell to him because he's a fragile human being apparently and gets tossed. Yeah, that does happen too much. I agree with that.
The only thing I was gonna say about Wilson, because whatever. What else could you say about this? Just watch the fucking video and you can see for yourself. But like with Wilson, he's a former catcher, right? When you're a catcher, you don't really get to argue balls and strikes too much because
you legitimately can't.
You're more reserved because you want to get those calls on your end. So now that he's playing first base, good to see that he's taken the full workload of first base, and he's like, oh, I'm not a catcher anymore. I can go fucking berserk on these guys. Because there was a time in his career he couldn't argue those things. So
you're right. He got tossed as he was walking away. So so he just said.
So
then what? This is another one. He had nothing to lose. He got tossed. He just said, well, apparently he had more to lose because he got suspended 6 games, got a fine too. But once again, they're not in the playoff contention. He's just getting a mini vacation.
yeah, not bad. I also traded him in fantasy, and we're in the playoffs. So, ooh. All right. So, sorry, Doosan. That's Jason's team. Anyway, Guardians placed Carlos Santana on outright waivers. He is at age 39. Is this the end of Carlos Santana? Well, first of all, we could say our one word to describe that fucking shit. But at the same time, is this the end of Carlos Santana? This is Carlos Santana, the first baseman, not Carlos Santana, the musician, by the way.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Yep, I didn't know if anyone was having trouble at home with that. But which team would benefit from him right now? Because we saw Nathaniel Lowe, something similar happen with him. Washington says bye-bye. Well, Boston needed a first baseman, and Lowe's been kind of kicking ass for Boston as of late. So does two teams see the similar thing with Santana? Cleveland also snapped a 28-inning scoreless streak yesterday. So the offense has been quiet. They say, okay, we're probably – I don't know if they're not technically out of it. Should we do a quick 5 games?
No, they're back. 5 games out.
But I still think maybe they're not – they don't give a shit. And a team like that, we don't need a veteran first baseman anymore. We're going to kind of go more with our young guys. What do you make of the Carlos Santana thing? And is this the end of him? And what team would benefit him?
So if we go all the way back, we said one word, it's going to be coaching because it's about time for him to get into some coaching. He's had an awesome career. He's been in the league since we started watching baseball. He's been in the league.
Sneaky, really good career, yeah.
Yeah, like he's had a long career with a lot of different teams. He's been a journeyman in the past couple of years to finish out his career. But maybe just start being a player coach somewhere. I don't know if any team's going to really value what he brings to the table right now, like on a playoff push team. They might value his wisdom, though. A guy who's been there, done that, and been around the block twice. Probably more than twice, in all honesty. But, time to get into coaching, Carlos.
Yeah, but good career. Over 300 homers, over 1,000 ribbies. He's pretty much accomplished what you can do. A Silver Slugger, a Gold Glove, only a one-time All-Star, and a bit of a Cleveland legend. His 11 seasons out of his 14 happened in Cleveland. I remember he was there for a long time. I remember him going to Philly in 2018. Wasn't he the guy that smashed the TV?
Yeah, that's what we needed back then. We had young guys playing Fortnite on a 7-game losing streak, and he comes in and goes, "Ain't nobody allowed to have fun on a losing streak," and smash the TV
with a bat, right? Or a fungo. So good for him. That was 2018 because that was his lone year in Philly. He goes back to Cleveland 2019 juice ball era, but that was his lone All-Star appearance. So I remember him kind of like being good in Cleveland and not really at the time it was like he leaves Cleveland, goes to Philly, gets cold, goes back to Cleveland, gets hot again. It was like, oh, he's a Cleveland guy. Was a Gold Glove, I think, last year at the age of 38 with Minnesota. So he was kind of producing. There was reason to believe that he could maybe bring something to the table as a switch hitter, that he could bring something to the table at the age of 39. But yes, I agree with you. Probably the end of an era for a big old Carlos, 5'10", 210.
And a guy like him, he'll play until somebody tells him he can't anymore.
Yeah, I think he would make
mean?
a pretty good coach, though. He seems to, he knows his shit. He's been around long enough. He's accomplished a lot on a lot of different levels of the game. But Cleveland offense has been very cold. We said the 28-inning scoreless streak that they had at snap yesterday. So they've been very cold. And he's 39. You kind of want to rebrand a little bit, similar to what Washington did, right? They got Nathaniel Lau, kind of a veteran. They're going a younger direction. They don't really see. They're not chasing anything really this year. They release him. Well, Red Sox pick up Nathaniel, and it's been good for him. Do you see that happening with Carlos Santana? Does the team snag him?
Maybe. I don't know if he plays, though, like Lau is, though.
Yeah, because, I think Lau's he's younger, and Boston was really in serious need of a first baseman. I don't know what other teams would really like Seattle checked that box at the deadline with Naylor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Houston, not really. That left-handed bat in Houston, I just don't see it. I don't know who's going to benefit from him. I really don't. I think all the teams are kind of set.
Yeah, so he might, just take the rest of the year off and then come back next year.
If he even gets a job next year. But that's what's going on with Carlos in Cleveland. Okay. Kind of our last thing for the vibe check here. Might spark an interesting conversation because Evaldi is out for the season. Do we both agree that the Rangers are done?
Mm-hmm.
They're finished.
Yeah.
They're gone. And if anything, this was just a nail in the coffin. Evaldi, one of their two aces, bye-bye. He might have been leading the league in ERA. I think he was, sub-2. And he's out. So that sucks for Evaldi. Sucks for Texas, but let's be honest. That's just the nail in the coffin. I think they were done before this, and now it's just like the Reaper has come and sucked your soul with basically this. So that sucks. But there's a handful of other guys. I put a little list together, just guys I could think of who are on contending teams. A lot of these teams currently hold a playoff spot. And these are all pitchers, notable arms that have been out for the year. So Evaldi has since done this, but I think the Rangers are done. I think they've been done prior to this. But see, these are some teams that have lost notable arms that are in the hunt. You tell me what you think is the most pivotal. Of course, you have Wheeler. That was one of the more recent ones to Philly. That's very incredible. That literally could be the answer. But let's not forget about Josh Hader. Again, that's a pivotal arm for Houston's bullpen. We talked about him a little bit earlier. Dare I say he was the best closer in baseball prior to his injury? You could argue that. So that's notable. Chris Bubich. Let's not forget about Bubich. He's out for the season. He was having a hell of a year. Kansas City is 3 games back. To have Bubich in your rotation, being 3 games back down the stretch, would have been huge. So I would argue for Bubich and put a little respect on his name. Griffin Canning. Now the Mets have played well against the Phillies the last 2, but what have we been saying about Mets pitching for as long as we can remember was we don't know how much we like their arms down the stretch. There's been reason to believe that they don't have innings eaters, and it's kind of showing more now than ever. Well, Canning has had some good outings for them this year. They would have loved a Griffin Canning. Well, he's out for the season. Maybe that's not as bad as the last ones, but notable arm nonetheless on a playoff contending team. Tony Gonsolin out for the year for the Dodgers. They've had a lot of injuries. Gonsolin, not a bad arm there. Tanner Houck, Boston. He looked like shit when he was healthy, but he was an all-star last year. Does he fit well after the Balos and the Giolitos of the world, after Crochet? Well, there's Houky. Oh, Shawnee's coming back in. Clark Schmidt, while we continue to roll. Clark Schmidt, I think he would be Game 3 starter for the Yankees. It would go Fried, Rodon, Schmitty. Well, Schmitty's out for the year, and now the Yankees are searching for that Game 3 starter. Sean, with Clark Schmidt, Yankees are searching for that Game 3 starter. Is it Cam Schlittler? Is it Luis Hill? I think it would go Hill. Schlittler's making a good case, but if it wasn't for Schmidt getting banged up, he would be the Game 3 starter. That's a big loss for the Yankees. Of course, you could throw Garrett Cole, who was out for the season before the season began, but that is a hell of a loss when you lose a Cy Young candidate there for the Yankees. And Jackson Jobe, who maybe I'm not too mad at, but that's Detroit. Detroit, they touch on a lot of arms, but just to have more arms down the stretch, he's a youngster. I don't know if that's pivotal, but he is a notable young arm on a playoff contending team, and you want arms down the stretch. Those are some of the guys that are out for the season on teams that are – a lot of those teams are going to make the playoffs. Kind of got me thinking with the Evaldi news. Do you just roll with Wheeler, Sean? What's the most pivotal loss out of those?
There's 4 ways you can go with this. You can talk about Cole, but that was right in the beginning of the year. The Yankees honestly probably should have tried to figure that out by now. But how do you replace a guy like Garrett Cole? You kind of can't. He's that good. So that's one you could talk about. Bubic is a big one because of how good he was pitching. And like you said, they're trying to make a playoff push. That's a big one and a big notable one. I don't want to say that the answer is Wheeler because that's the obvious one, I believe. But the Phillies have good pitching after him.
Yep.
They're not Zach Wheeler, but they do have good pitching after him as well. Hader, they even have Brian Abreu in another guy that they can replace him as well. But Hader was like the best closer and stuff like that. So since I'm not saying Wheeler, I'm probably gonna go with Hader.
Yeah,
that is a huge hit to the Astros and stuff like that. And listen, once again, the only reason I'm not saying Wheeler is because I want to go off the beaten path here a little bit and say Josh Hader, basically.
Yeah, well, you touched on it. I think Wheeler and Hader are your top two. I put Clark Schmidt very high on this list because I do think he was a top 3 starter that you roll out for the playoffs if you're the Yankees. So I think losing Clark Schmidt is because now you're kind of trying to establish your rotation come playoff time. Well, you got to punch your ticket first. But other than that, like I don't know who the Yankees game 3 starter would be. It's probably Hill and maybe Schlitter makes a case or whoever the fuck. But it's not as established as it could be. So I do think there's that. I like that you talked about Bubic too. I think it is Hader and Wheeler top 2, and it's tough. I think it is a toss. I don't think it's closer than people think. I do think the obvious answer is Wheeler, but the reason I would shy away from Wheeler is because it's not like they do have another Cy Young in that rotation. So it's like, okay, it's not Wheeler, but Wheeler and Sanchez looks a lot scarier than other guys. But Nola has playoff experience. Ranger has playoff experience. They have another Cy Young, a guy who can fill in as their ace, and Christopher. So that's why it's not the Philly. It's a big hit, but losing your ace is such a hard hit, and I feel like the Phillies can survive without it. But it is a hard hit. Maybe I'll just go Wheeler to say fuck it. But I do think Wheeler and Hader, big two to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And Hader the only reliever on the list too, so that sucks. Okay, I got some dirty dogs for you. Let's go to 2. Those were guys who were on playoff contending teams that have been losses, teams losing notable pitchers on the playoff contending teams. Let me talk about a few guys who have been on we haven't talked about a lot because they're not on contending teams. So we haven't really gotten to them, but I got a couple honorable mentions. My honorable mentions are position players, then I have 2 pitchers for you, not on contending teams that are playing fantastic. I want to give a shout out to Luke Keyshaw. If you don't know, well, now you know. Luke Keyshaw, we have not talked about him, and he's been a dirty fucking dog for Minnesota. He homered last night. And I think this is your buddy. You've been high on Colson Montgomery, haven't you?
Yeah, the shortstop over White Sox, right?
Yeah,
good player.
And Keyshaw's in Minnesota. So those are a couple of middle infielders in the Central there on the 2 worst teams in the Central, but maybe there's some bright spots. Well, Colson Montgomery also became yesterday was the second White Sox player at age 23 or younger to hit a homer in 4 straight games. People are saying he's like a lefty, got a little bit of pop. People are saying he's like a Corey Seager type, which is a good comparison if you're 23 or younger and you're getting compared to 2-time World Series champion Corey Seager. So those are kind of some honorable mentions there. But then I got some pitchers for you who are my dirty dogs in the AL. Who we have talked about: Trevor Rogers, age 27th season, and kind of making a big splash with Baltimore. He made an All-Star team with Miami back in 2021, but he's been a bit of an ace for them. I shouldn't say a huge fucking ace for them because they didn't know who their ace was. He stepped up in a big role. And it's important to talk about Rogers. You mentioned Bradish, and there's also Grayson Rodriguez. So there's reason to believe that however as shitty this Orioles staff has been entering this year and the entirety of this season, at the start of next year, you roll out some notable names like that. Bradish has been good when healthy. Grayson Rodriguez, they invested a lot of stock in. And now we're seeing what Trevor Rogers can do. Maybe not a bad staff. Maybe there's reason to believe that Baltimore can get out of the sewer in just 1 year's time. They've done it before. And then for my NL dirty dog, that's my AL dirty dog. My NL dirty dog, Hurston Waldrop for the Braves. Again, teams like the Orioles, teams like the Braves, we have thought more highly of, and they've been just shitty and disappointing the whole year. Well, Hurston Waldrop, as amongst others, some young guys, there's some reason to believe that maybe Brave starting pitcher could be good. When healthy, you figure Chris Sale, Strider can get back at it next year. When healthy, you have Ronaldo Lopez. When healthy, you have Schwellenbach. Let's not forget to name A.J. Smith-Shava, Sean. Remember A.J. Smith-Shava, who was kind of a dog for them before he got banged up? Well, now Hurston Waldrop. Okay, he's been good in 5 games started this year, 3 earned runs and 30 innings pitched, and his name is Hurston. Kind of makes you sound. It seems like he comes from old money. His His name is.
They always get somebody over the Braves. They're never out of it. But
there's reason to believe they can pull themselves out of the gutter in 1 year's time too. So those are my dirty dogs. You got some dirty dogs too.
Yeah, so I stuck with the Orioles pitcher. I went with Kyle Bradish, making his first start since. Let me find the date so I don't mess this up.
Oh, like early last year.
Yeah, early last year. I think it was June 2024.
Oh, 24.
Yeah, yeah. I can't find it, but I do believe it was June 2024. He had Tommy John. He comes back, throws 6 shutout with 10 strikeouts in his first outing on a team that has not seen great pitching at all this whole entire year. So that's something that you want to note. 28 years old, exciting to see somebody come back like that for them. That's another team we talked about probably can make a turnaround in 1 year as well, and they can do it with the help of him. Also, I want to give a shout out. My honorable mention goes to Carson Williams over the young shortstop that just got brought up in the Tampa Bay Rays organization.
Oh, good one.
Has had a hit in every single game he's played. He's just batting like 400. Had his first home run in his first ever game, actually, over there for Tampa Bay. So, little shout out to him. Small sample size, but dirty dog nonetheless.
Dirty dog.
And NL side, this guy sounds like a real dirty dog.
Yeah.
Warming Bernabel, the Colorado Rockies first baseman that got brought up halfway through the year, because what do they have to lose? They don't have anything to lose. I'll tell you that right now. Hitting 275, 4 home runs at 13 ribbies, and I'm not sure how long he's been up and stuff like that, but we haven't talked about him yet. So I wanted to just bring up his name because that's a great name. Warming Bernabel.
It is.
But dirty dog nonetheless.
That's a good dirty dog. Bitch and neck tattoo that he has.
Yeah. So we'll give Warming I'll give Warming my NL spot.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, because at this stage of the game, we've been talking a lot about playoff contending teams, who's hot, what do these playoff teams have to do, who's going to clinch, and all that shit. And it's really not the time of the year where we're talking about these sneaky motherfuckers on not contending teams. So there you go. There's a handful of dudes that get their flowers on our program. Let's go to some other shit. Baseball in 2026. 2026 in 2025? Well, yeah, I think there's some good conversation topics here, and we can kind of dissect these things and see what is good with this upcoming shit next year. First of all, a lot of the talk has been around the A's going to Vegas. Well, they're actually not even going to Vegas until 2028. I thought it was 27. I guess it got pushed back another year. So
yeah, probably.
They just wanted to get the fuck out of Oakland or whatever.
Yeah.
But their ballpark is expected to open in 2028. Either way, they're going to host 6 games in Vegas in 2026. Milwaukee and Colorado, that's 2 series, 6 games, back-to-back series in Vegas. It's the Las Vegas ballpark, which is home to the AAA Vegas Aviators. That's, I guess, cool. I don't know. We'll see how they continue to trend. My big question to you is, I mean, do we believe in the A's moving forward? Guys like Tyler Soderstrom and Nick Kurtz, the Lancaster Milkman, they made Greg Amsinger's like top 9 list for most clutch right now. I don't know. Take that with a grain of salt, but there's reason, he backs it up with however he backs it up. But there was 2 A's onto the top 9 on Greg's list. Also, Shea Langeliers has 17 homers since the All-Star break. That leads MLB. This doesn't even mention your other buddies out there in West Sacramento right now. They're going to be going to Vegas. Maybe there's some cool things going on. Are you an A's believer moving forward, Sean?
Until they get some pitching, no.
Yeah.
They need pitching. But their lineup, I do love their lineup. The Milkman over at first. You got Wilson at short. You got Lawrence Butler in the outfield. Soderstrom, you talked about as well, who people were making a case that in the beginning of the year that he was going to be the All-Star coming out of the Oakland A's. But they did get rid of Mason Miller, so that's
not Oakland. You said Oakland. You can't say that anymore. Sean.
Yeah, I can't say that anymore. Whoops. It's an unmentionable. But anyway, I do believe in them. And then also with this surgence, I guess, because it's not a resurgence, but like of Shea. He's been incredible. So that's just another piece of the puzzle for this lineup. And their lineup right now, it looks like they're doing all the right things with, young guys playing, getting this experience. And they're not just playing, they're excelling in these roles. Jacob Wilson was in talks for a batting title, will probably win a batting title one day. Nick Lancaster Milkman Kurtz, is like he's putting up an he's gonna be the rookie of the year coming up halfway through the year, and also even getting injured, he's still gonna be the rookie of the year because his numbers are just that incredible. He's an unbelievable hitter. But Lawrence Butler's young as well. I don't know how old Langoliers is. That's how you say his last name, Langoliers?
Yeah. I'd give him 20, 28. I don't know.
But they need pitching. They need pitching like desperately. So that's something that I will start to believe in them as soon as they get some pitching over there.
Yeah, 100%. Touch up on the bullpen. I like Mark Kotze. People tend to speak highly of Kotze over there. You haven't mentioned Brent Rooker yet, but
yeah. Brent, yeah. I always forget Brent, and I know that's your guy, and I apologize for that. But Brent as well.
But also they had a good little cutesy little deadline. Yeah, they got rid of Mason Miller. They got like the whole Padres farm system with some notable guys. So we'll see how that continues to trend. But yeah, until they get pitching, you can't really be too high. But yeah, we'll see them play in Vegas next year for like 6 games and then whatever. Okay, other notables. Opening day, March 25th. It's an early opening day. It's Giants host the Yankees. Phillies opening day for you, Sean. They open up at home, March 26th versus Texas.
This is like the 3rd time they've opened up against Texas.
That's just
they do that a lot. But are they doing the Japan shit or wherever they go this year?
So well, let's get into that in a second. I haven't heard anything about the Japan. I don't know. Let's get into that. But let's start with WBC will be coming first. So we'll go somewhat chronologically here. Judge, Witt, Skeens, Cal Riley. Now, we've been talking on and off about the World Baseball Classic, but I think that's who we know for sure. I don't know if there's been anyone
Nobody else is declared.
Okay, has been announced, yeah. So 2026 World Baseball Classic, Judge captain, Skeens is the ace. He got Witt at short, and Cal Riley announced at the All-Star game that he'd be there. It's basically like the best player at each position, you could argue. But who else do you want to see on Team USA? Do you have one guy, a few guys? Like who tickles your fancy?
I want to see Scooble there. The 1-2 punch of Skeens and Scooble is terrifying, and I would love to see Scooble there. I want to see. I would also like to see like Gunner make an appearance. I'd like to see some young guys. Honestly, let's get some young blood in there. Corbin Carroll maybe making a roster as well, but then also some older guys. Trey having an unbelievable year that's been kind of slept on as well. Get him on the roster. Bryce as well. Got to give a shout out to my own guys. I think there's no way Bryce isn't there because him and D-Row are so close. But also, yeah, you can't not say what Pete Alonso over in New York. He's having a great year too. So those are some guys I would love to see.
Yeah, Pete. Yeah, for first baseman, Schwarber was on it last time.
Yeah,
so that's cool. Speaking of the Phils, we talked about this last time. Philly versus Minnesota. Field of Dreams game. Plan's not finalized, but we're thinking Dyersville, Iowa in mid-August. I don't know if anything in Dyersville, Iowa has been like electric in the past, but I think everyone's excited for the Field of Dreams game. And it kind of got me thinking because we talked about this briefly, right? We were talking about how bad the Speedway Classic was. It kind of turned into like a Fire Fest type of thing. And that kind of was like it's gimmicky bullshit. It's kind of cute and fun, but it can also turn into a disaster. Well, Field of Dreams was a gimmicky thing that was actually really cool. I think we made a joke about it before. It's like, what else do you want to see? Where the A's have been doing a Bull Durham the whole year, right?
Yeah.
I think someone had mentioned like this. Maybe this was you. You said to do like a Sandlot type of game, but
yeah, I did bring up like Sandlot. That'd be hard.
But what other types of gimmicky things? It doesn't have to be from a movie, but like they did the Speedway Classic. Is there any other gimmicky shit that you want to see? Because they're doing the Field of Dreams. They're bringing that back. And that's
if you're talking gimmicky, like I'd love to see. I'd love to see on Players Weekend they bring back the nicknames thing next year. I would like that. We talked about that before. But if you're talking Field of Dreams, I think it's perfect. I think you cut it at that. Yeah. I think you leave it to the Field of Dreams and you legitimately cut it at that. Stop trying to do all this other shit.
Yeah,
just leave it at the Field of Dreams.
I like that. Less is more. And if they were to do like some type of Sandlot type of thing, like okay, that's kind of cool. But they do the Little League Classic, and I don't hate that during Little League.
No, the Little League Classic's good.
That's fine. Yeah, I think less is more, but you don't have to do all the Speedway Classic and then you run out of fucking hot dog buns. Or no,
and cheese for your nachos.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah, cheeseless nachos and bunless dogs. Less is more. Okay, Mexico series. So this is kind of what you were talking about too. I don't know if it's any Tokyo stuff yet, but what I have heard was Mexico series 2 games between Padres and D-backs late April. They're also Yankees at Toronto. But I think they were talking about a London series. It likely will not take place. I think there's some like soccer shit going on, whatever. And then there was talks about a Puerto Rican series for 2025 and even 2026. They obviously didn't do it this year. Nothing has been set in stone. But the bottom line is they're talking about all these international stuff. With that being said, it looks like the Mexico series is the only thing that's coming into fruition. Padres D-backs 2-game set in Mexico City, I think. Might have did that this year too. But either way, where do you want to see a game be played with all this shit? They continue to kind of try to expand the game and go to different countries. Where do you want to see the game be played?
I honestly, I couldn't give you an answer here.
I have an answer. I'm keeping it domestic. Go to Nashville.
That'd be a good one. I like that. But
I'm like country music weekend. You get a bunch of big country stars and do like a music festival, but there's also like a series going on.
Yeah, I like that.
That
is a good one. To get a lot of players in trouble, but I like that one.
Yeah, keep it.
It's like sending a baseball team to Vegas. Oh wait, we already did that.
Yeah.
There's Shohei Ohtani's going to have a freaking field day in Las Vegas, but
yeah, he is.
I don't care really much about the growing the game outside of everything, you know. So, but yeah, Nashville country music, that would be cool. I like
country music weekend or like rock and roll. Bring some live music performers out. Keep it domestic.
I'm sure we'll see a freaking baseball game played on a football field at some point.
Yep. Well,
actually, the Oakland A's. Sorry about that. We already seen that.
Well, they used to share it, but but I'm saying keep it domestic, and also if they do want to, grow the game, they're talking about literally adding teams to talk about growing. Like they're literally trying to grow it in that sense of the word too. And one of the hypothetical landing spots for a what's it called?
Nashville. Yeah, you're right. An expansion team.
For an expansion team, yeah, it has been. So yeah, see how the fans look, and they got football, they got hockey, they don't got baseball. They might have minor league shit, but yeah, why not? And then do a whole little thing, a little festival out of it. And the only thing I'll say about baseball going to do in international stuff, it works in baseball. Don't love it for football though. Don't love
football. Apparently, the football guys hate it too.
Well, yeah, I could see. I don't like it for football. There's not enough games for that shit. Remember last year, didn't they take an Eagles home game away because they were playing
Brazil.
Yeah. So I don't like it for that. Baseball, it works because you at least you can do like a 2-game series somewhere, and it doesn't get it's not as bad. But whatever. Okay, yeah, keep it domestic. Or do a New Orleans shit. Like if there's like a cool city with a cool theme, then I don't mind it. Throw beads. Okay, May 17th, May 19th, rivalry weekend. Sean, I want to hear your thoughts on this. It's the same matchups as 2025. Remember, we kind of got pissed off at the quote-unquote rivalry because it's not rivalry. It's proximity weekend. So it's not like Yankees-Red Sox rivalry. It's Yankees-Mets because it's proximity. It's not Phillies-Mets even. I think, what was it this year? Phillies-Pirates.
Yeah.
It's proximity. They do the battle of each state. It would be like the Battle of Missouri. Kansas City and St. Louis, the Battle of Ohio. Like they do shit like that. It was Boston and Atlanta for whatever fucking reason. So it's not really rivalry. It's proximity. They're doing that again in 2026.
Throw out the map and give me the guys that hate each other. That's all I want. Throw the map out. Give me the guys that hate each other. And so that's my thoughts on that. I can't believe they did that again because it should not be that. It should be Phillies, Mets. It should be Yankees, Boston. It should be Dodgers, Padres.
Yep.
It should
it's Angels, Dodgers because they do the LA.
Let these guys play against the people they hate. That's
Agreed.
A rivalry, not a freaking these guys are, I don't know. Give the teams that got history a chance to play.
I agree. And speaking of history, I like that you brought that up. We got an All-Star game July 14th in Philly, marking the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence.
Woo!
How do you like that?
Nicolas Cage stole that.
Yeah, Nick Cage stole it. And also a little bit of history. Yankees versus Mets have a 9/11 series. 9/11 and 9/13. I don't think it's called that, but that's what it is. It's in the Bronx, which marks the 25th anniversary of 9/11. Mets hosted the 20th anniversary at Shitty Field back, when it was the 20th. Now the 25th will be at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Those are some cool things that are happening in 2026. I think you could look forward to both of those things.
Yeah.
There's reason to kind of involve baseball and history and baseball. All that shit intertwined is what makes the game cool.
It's supposed to be America's pastime, so why you can never deny the history that's come with it. So.
Good point. Yep. So that's cool shit there that we can look forward to. That's 2026 notable stuff. I guess we don't ever have to talk about it again. But there's not a lot of movement in the standings, so we'll do a look ahead in that sense of the word, and then we'll look more at what's going on currently on Friday. Before that, though, let's wrap it up with what keeps you up at night. The biggest flaws of each playoff team. We're going to go through. I put 7 and 7, so that means I included the Reds and I included the Royals because those are the 7th best team in each division, in each league rather. But what keeps you up at night? If you're a Phillies fan, Sean, which you are, let's start with the East. They lead the East. What are you terrified with about the Phils?
It's winning in New York. Winning in New York, I touched on it earlier in the program. That scares me.
If they play their cards right, they might not have to. But right now,
it's also. But that's also the thing. I'd rather them figure this shit out and get over the hump than just hope we don't play them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's how every Phillies fan thinks. But that is my number one right now because there is a very good chance we see them in the playoffs. So and. You could mark it up to people are like, you're overreacting. I'm like, I just watched them lose 9 straight games. And I hope the number's 9 because I've said it enough times now.
It is not. It's 9.
But
I wrote it
they've
down.
lost 9 straight games in Citi Field. That's not me overreacting. That's a trend. That is a trend.
Oh, yeah.
So they need to.
Trend times like 3. I think 3
exactly.
is a pattern, right?
Yeah. So they need to figure it out.
And I wonder if that dates back to the playoffs last year, that 9. That's what I don't know.
It probably does. 100% does, actually.
Yeah, it has to, right? So, either way, I think you could chalk it up to that. That's a very good point. Also, I think I would agree because I think anything else that would be a flaw can be overcome by something. Like, okay, Wheeler going down, that might keep you up at night. But, hey, Sanchez fills in as the ace. He's going to get Cy Young votes. Skeens is going to win the damn thing, but Sanchez is the next best in the NL. So it's not like you don't have that guy. It's not like you don't have guys with playoff experience that can shove for you and have proven to do this. So it's not like you can really what's the word I'm looking for? You can't really make up for Wheeler because Wheeler's 1 of 1. But you can survive. You know what I mean? What you can't survive doing is continue to lose games in Citi fucking Field, realistically.
Yeah.
You know? So that's what you can't survive, and that's what could definitely keep you up at night. Mets, on the other hand, the other NL East team that'll be most likely be a playoff team, because the Reds have been pissing everybody off. The Mets. If you're a Mets fan, what is keeping you up at night? What is their biggest flaw?
Starting pitching.
Yeah.
Starting pitching, and we've talked about this before. We have 0 sample size of these guys. Have enough, not 0, but very small sample size of these guys as starters. This full rotation as starters. Now, granted, the 3 guys they'll probably roll out in a playoff series is going to be Sangha, Minaya, and Peterson. We do have a sample size of them. We know what they can do. Sangha's hurt a lot, and Minaya was hurt for half the year, and David Peterson's kind of all over the place, but been solid for them this year. Was an all-star. Maybe unrightfully so an all-star, but still an all-star nonetheless. But still, it's starting pitching, and that's kind of shown in the past couple series for the Mets. Not the Phillies one, but in the past couple series for the Mets, the pitching was the biggest asterisk for them. I
agree. Let's continue to plow, but I'll put this on the screen because this is the updated remaining strength of schedule as of like yesterday, I think. What are the Phillies on this? Oh, Phillies have a hard strength of schedule. Uh-oh. Yankees got an easy one, thank freaking the Lord. Anyway, let's keep the NL going, though. I'll just keep this up. We can use it as a reference. Brewers, who lead the Central. What's their biggest flaw, if any? They're the best team in baseball with 83 wins.
Right now, I would just think it's themselves. Don't get in your own way is my thing. You're playing really good baseball. Don't change too much. Don't try to do too much. Just keep playing the baseball you have been playing, and you guys are going to be fine.
Yeah, their thing to me is don't get in your own way. Maybe they're just a little bit try to get a monkey off their back because they have really yet to prove to go deep in the playoffs or win a playoff series. They have no problem getting to the playoffs or even winning a division. They've done that. But now to actually get over that hump. So don't get in your own way if you're the Brew Crew. Let's go to the Cubs. Stick it in the Central. They have one of the easier schedules remaining too. What is their biggest flaw?
Once again, starting pitching.
Oh, yeah.
Or pitching as a whole. I mean, I would just give pitching as a whole. I think that one's easy for
I agree.
The Cubbies. We know this lineup's potent, but the pitching we don't know a whole lot about.
I agree. And yeah, Soroka, come on at the deadline. We talked about that enough. The Reds have one of the hardest remaining strengths of schedules. They are, what is their deal? 3.5 back. They were closer. Now they keep falling back and back. But I put them in the mix. They are.
Yeah, it's for them. It's just staying alive. That's what would keep me up at night. Just trying to stay in this. Like they haven't been doing themselves any favors. They are playing the Dodgers, and the Phillies haven't been helping them by losing to the Mets. But they do. That's what would keep me up if I was a Reds fan. Just trying to stay alive and stay in this push, man.
Yeah, and maybe experience too. It's just not their year, it feels like. But hey, who knows? And we've seen crazier shit happen. Where are the Dodgers? So Dodgers and Padres are the 2 West teams that are worth noting here. They both have easier schedules moving forward. What do you think about the Dodgers and then the Padres?
The Dodgers would be injuries. The injury bug has plagued your team the whole entire year. Let's hope for a healthy end of the year. But if your trend keeps going in the way it has been this year for you, you're kind of screwed. So you're really holding your breath, hoping nobody gets injured in this last month.
Yep. Agree. And maybe their bullpen strength. I think there's some holes in the pen that they have to kind of patch up if they're going to go deep. But they have no problem navigating through the playoffs. Let's just see where they finish, because the Padres are they on their tail? What's the deal here? Padres are 1 game back, and what's their flaw?
The Padres are a little bit of a harder one. I'm not going to lie, because honestly, for me, I would like to say their biggest fear is the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'd like to say the Dodgers are their biggest fear. Not really, because they do play them well. They have played them well in the past and everything like that, but they can't seem to pass them to take and keep that first place. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't really have any.
Keep it going, and roll with the AL. Be right back.
Okay, AL wise, Blue Jays. So when you're looking at the Blue Jays, I would go with their biggest flaw kind of being the inexperience that kind of plagues their team a little bit. You kind of get on top of that with George Springer and Shane Bieber a little bit, now a veteran as well. You talk about Bo Bichette and Santander and Vladdy and stuff, but we don't know how these guys are going to look come October. So we got to think about that a little bit. If you're sticking with the AL East and you talk about the Red Sox, what keeps me up at night is how young they are, which is also their biggest superpower. It could also be what hurts them the most. The inexperience that's coming out of that team, just being young guns, that is very worrisome to me come October. But then to round it all about, I wish Spin was here for this one, but the Yankees. And the Yankees, I think it's just baseball in general. I mean, we've seen them all around the field, all around the diamond, throwing the ball everywhere, making stupid errors time and time again, running the base paths stupidly, and living or dying by the home run has not helped them out. And we've seen it in playoffs in the past, them getting spanked because of it too. So, that would probably be my biggest one for the Yankees, and just on time.
I heard the Yanks.
So I said Blue Jays, it's their inexperience in the playoffs. That was what would keep me up at night for the Blue Jays. It helps a little bit having Springer and Bieber there, be some veterans, some crafty veterans, but once again, not a whole lot of playoff experience on that team. Red Sox, I said their youth. It's their strongest it's their superpower, but it also could be what hurts them in the long run come October. And then the Yankees, I said it was baseball in general.
Yeah, I think Yankees is obvious, right? Fuck.
Yeah, because the Yankees, like, we've seen them make so many dumb errors, stuff on the base pass, and live or dying by the home run. That can't happen come October. And you're just holding your breath that it doesn't happen, it seems like.
Boston looks like they have a decent little mix of hard and over 500 and under 500 opponents. That's how I imagine they make this list. So they're 15. They're like right in the middle. The Yankees are 29th in terms of the easiest. So like, hopefully the Yankees do well against under 500 teams. If that's enough to kind of get them hot and steer them on the right path, entered October that way, I don't fucking know. But yeah, their biggest flaw is literally, yes, I agree with you. Baseball in general, sloppy play. They can't play a full 9 innings. It's really hard. That's going to get exposed in the playoffs. It gets exposed versus good teams as it is. Like we talk like a lot of the show has been the Phillies not playing well against the Mets at Citi Field. I mean, the Yankees haven't played well against Boston, period, at either stadium. I think they lost 8 straight against the Red Sox this year.
Mm-hmm.
This year, fucking a lot. So it gets exposed against good teams is my point. And yes, that is definitely, they can't play a good 9 innings. If the pitching is there, the hitting is not. If the hitting is there, the pitching is not. If the defense looks good that day, then the bullpen will find a way to blow it late. If if everyone's sharp, then the wheels come flying off in terms of sloppy baseball late in the game or whatever the fuck. Like, it's just not a full solid brand of baseball. So yes, that's the Yankees thing. Let's get off of it because it pisses me off.
All right. Well, the Tigers then. Tigers, for me, it's the same exact thing. It's the inexperience. You have Baez, you have Torres, but a lot of these guys have like Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, even Scooble, like in the starting rotation. I don't even know how much has Kyle Finnegan been in the playoffs. So as your late ad. There are some notables there that haven't seen October, and some of your best players haven't seen October yet. So that is a little worrisome.
Yeah, I mean, they got a little taste last year, which could be good, but yeah, it's nothing like holy shit. Like, I agree. Like, I think their manager is good. That he can steer him in the right direction. But yeah, I mean, I also, if you roll out a big three for their arms, Skubal obviously is so great. I'd maybe go Flaherty, then Mize. I don't know if I hate it. I don't know if I love it. On the AL side, maybe it's not that bad. Yeah, I would roll with that. I would roll with their offense. It's so weird for them to be such a good team. Their offense on paper doesn't really blow you the fuck away.
No, it doesn't. They just, it's timely hitting with them a lot of the time, and they just got guys who get it done.
Yeah, and I think they actually lost the first two against.
They did. They did against the orphaned A's.
Vikings acquire Adam Thielen.
Oh, returning home.
Yeah, he was there, right? Yeah, I thought so.
Returning home. Look at breaking news, NFL news.
Yeah, look at that. Schefter.
What about the Royals spin? Where are you at with them?
Whew, I love them. I'm a Royals believer. I always have been, but it's kind of getting less and less likely, right? I mean, what have they done? They are on a 1-game win streak. Okay, not bad. You just got to win one day at a time, but they're 3 games back, and that's maybe the more concerning thing. They at number 20 in terms of remaining strength of schedule, 20 being on the easier side. Yeah, I mean, what is their deal? I hate that Bubic is out for the season. Reagans is also hurt. And when he was playing, I don't know if he wasn't playing that well. Like, you expect him to be an ace, and he wasn't that great. He'll come back eventually, maybe make a few starts before the season ends, and if they can sneak into the playoffs, then he'll be there for October. But they have a lot of between Ryan Berger and Noah Cameron. You've been getting good starts out of them, and they've been helping you stay afloat. Lugo and Walker kind of being your more veteran guys. I think they've been doing enough to stay afloat, but until Reagans comes back and can prove to be a number one, it's tough to seriously believe that this is a real deal staff with also with Bubic out for the year. So I like their back end of the bullpen. I don't think Lucas Ursay gets talked about enough. Estevez is one of the better closers in all of baseball. The offense is waking up pretty greatly. That was their biggest flaw at a certain point, and it's kind of the offense is caught up to their pitching. But I need to see guys to be serious contributors in their rotation. Not that they haven't had it, but if you're going to roll into the playoffs, one of the biggest things you have to check off is a true solidified number one. And if it's Lugo right now, fine. But I prefer it to be Reagans and Lugo at the top, and Reagans come back healthy. So I just think some notable injuries in the rotation, and hopefully they can bounce back strong with Reagans, and the rotation can continue to do what it does. I think that's their biggest flaw, is just trying to get great contributions from their starting pitching.
If we're doing what keeps me up at night, if I'm a Royals fan, it's just making the playoffs. Simple as that.
That's a good way to put it.
That is as simple as that, making the playoffs. And you touched on every single thing on why they might not make the playoffs, but that is what keeps me up at night.
That's a good point. Yeah, they're on the outside looking, and I thought they'd be better. I think we all did. But notable injuries, and the offense wasn't shining when it was. Now, here's a good thing. Now, the offense is playing a little bit better, and I think when does Caglione come back?
Well, I'm not sure. Oh, excuse me.
Jack, who wasn't playing great, but he's set to return yesterday, it said. But
another bat.
But that's going to get – he's still in the IL, so maybe he was set to – maybe they'll reevaluate his IL stuff. Either way, another bat, lefty bat, cool. We'll see if they continue to do. We talked about Houston already. Anything that holds you back from Houston? They do lead the division.
Houston has been the inconsistency, I would say, because they were only really hot at one point this year. Injuries have kind of plagued them a little bit too. I know Pena went down. Jordan's been down obviously for a while. McCullers can't seem to stay healthy. So maybe you could throw the injuries in there. Wasn't Paredes hurt at one point too?
Yeah, he'll be back late September.
So you got that's another one. So I would probably, their depth, they just keep pumping these people out to keep first place and everything like that. But that's just the Houston Astros in general. But I would say probably injuries are the one thing that keep me up at night if I'm the Houston Astros.
Yeah, because I was going to go to Hader in the pen, and obviously that's an
Hader, yeah.
That's an injury there, and then you got basically your eighth inning guy fills in for the ninth. And don't get me wrong, it's similar to the Wheeler. Your two guy fills in for your one. It can be done, but it just it does hurt you in a big way.
Because they're such one of ones that it's hard to replace.
Yeah, it's not like you can't patch that hole, but there is a very big hole that is quite glaring and, dare I say, gaping. So yeah, that sucks. But I think Abreu could do the job. It's just now you got to plug in more holes, and You talk about Paredes and the other notable injuries, yes, and also if you're going to roll into the playoffs with a big three, we know they're two. Who's three? I don't know. So some shit like that, maybe some depth in the back end of their staff, depth in the back end of their bullpen, that stuff might be a hole that could be a flaw for them moving forward. Finally, it's Seattle.
Seattle is a little different for me. It's weird.
It is weird, right?
Because the Seattle has the roster now, and they're supposed to have the starting pitching too. I'd say my biggest question mark, the thing that keeps me up at night, is are my stars going to perform? Is this lineup going to perform the way we built it to? Because it got built late in the year. It got solidified late in the year. Do these guys have the chemistry? Do these guys have the stuff? It's kind of, that would be my biggest question mark and my biggest thing to keep me up at night.
Yeah, I agree, because right after the deadline, we were talking about how this might be the most complete team on paper, the most complete. Like the front office did their job to bring in these guys, but now it's about these guys and their actual production on the field. Because the front office can sit back and say, "Hey, we did our job." But you look at Eugenio Suarez. He's coming off he had 3 home runs last week. He's hit 167 though, so he's kind of like a homer or nothing guy right now. I think in only 3 hits in his last 7 games, they're all been homers. So he's like a homer or nothing guy right now. Like to see that average, at least kind of do your job. If it's not the homer, maybe you can kind of get some sac flies or work counts or, shit like that, because he's a middle of the lineup bat. You kind of want to see more out of that. Naylor's been hot as of late, but he had a little bit of a cold streak at a certain point. Is he still swiping bags? Nah. Yeah, it's been a minute.
Maybe they're finally paying attention.
Yeah, exactly. But, because those are like the things that they did at the deadline, and they've been trendy. Those guys have both been somewhat trendy. But, the front office is saying we did our job. Now you got to actually do it in the production sense of the word. And that's what kind of piggyback off of you. Plus with their pitching, you know that they have the arms to do it. But, again, it's production, right? Like Bryce Miller hasn't been in his best. Logan Gilbert hasn't been in his best. George Kirby hasn't been in his best. And a lot of these guys have dealt with injuries and come back, and when they have been healthy, not great. But I know it's there. Like we all know it's there. There's a lot of talent in those arms. We got to see it production-wise. There's a lot of talent in their bats. We got to see it production-wise. So I agree with you there. It's actually just playing the damn game and winning, because they do have the roster and the talent to do it.
Yep.
That's a nice little episode, Sean.
Kind of rounds it out.
That rounds it out. Little flaws of these teams worth taking a look at. Worth kind of paying attention to down the road. The one thing I can confidently say is that the Yankees will continue to Yankee, and I hate to use them as an adjective, right? I hate to use their name as an adjective, kind of like the Mets when you say the Mets. Yeah. It's like an adjective for sucking, but like the Yankees gonna Yankee, it's like an adjective for playing sloppy fucking baseball. Or is it an adverb? I don't know, but it's something. It's something, and you hate to use it like that, but I go into every game and I say, are the Yankees going to play sloppy today? Because it's, or are they not? You never know. They're going for a sweep today. That's a good thing. And I forget who they play over the weekend. But nonetheless, that's baseball. We got the flaws, and we'll keep an eye out on that shit. What's something worth continuing conversation about? See, how teams trend, because Lord knows it's a week-by-week basis with a lot of these motherfuckers. And then, 2026 stuff, somewhat notable. I think World Baseball Classic always fun, but let's get to this shit first. The fun thing is, Sean, is we look forward. We see over the next month we're going to see who punches their ticket. How does the playoff picture set itself up? Then we have playoffs. Then we have football and shit. But we'll get back to baseball activities quicker than usual, because we have the World Baseball Classic and then an early opening day and everything that we talked about. Fun stuff. Sir. Fun stuff to go about. Dirty dogs, guys that are on shitty teams that are playing well, and then the guys who are really good on contending teams, but they're out for the season. We didn't like that. Just recapping here. I'm just riffing. We got a nice little vibe check too, and we'll see everybody Friday, Sean.
Wet Hot American Weekend.
Yes, we got a Wet Hot American Weekend to kick it off, and we got some shit to pay attention to. Hopefully, there's a lot of changes in a lot of movement, because I don't think there
isn't gonna be, but we can talk about that on Friday.
We'll make some shit up if it doesn't happen. That's the Red Hot American Weekend. Shout out to Spirit of the Morning, presented by Off Base Media. Peace out, everybody.